Hello, this is Reagan with Cohort 4. I'm here to talk about my student case study, and for my case study, I chose a student in my class named Jonathan. Jonathan and I have had a good but long year, and there's a few reasons why. I'll get to that a little bit later. For this case study, I will talk about some of the following things. We'll talk about his student profile, his academic background, some behavioral strengths, as well as behavioral challenges, and then some intervention efforts and just kind of what I've done to try and reach him and better serve him as a student this year in my classroom. For his student profile, he is in the sixth grade. He's attended Parkwood Elementary for all 8 years that he's been in elementary school and kindergarten. Um, he does live in Madera, where the school is located. He also lives with mother and grandma, and I believe three cousins that are all slightly younger than Jonathan. Mother is his legal guardian, technically, and the father left the family when they were in first or second grade. I think it is second grade. And now I have recently found that father is trying to come back into the picture with Jonathan, and I don't think he's being very receptive to that. And that's been kind of what I think has been some of these struggles, especially with authority, have been related to. I think there's definitely I don't think it's a coincidence. But we will see what the school decides as he's currently being tested and meeting with counselors pretty regularly. Um, he has a loud yet dominant personality in and out of the classroom. He's very loud. I don't think he realizes he's as loud as he is. Um, he has no filter. I wish I could underline. I guess I could have, but he has no filter. He says whatever's on his mind, good or bad, to whomever is around to hear it. If it's the principal, if it's me, if it's another student, the lunch lady, the yard duty, a parent, it does not matter who is around. He will let you know his thoughts on uh, whatever's going on at that moment. He has a small circle of actual friends. I say the word actual because though he is, and we'll get to this too, but though he is constantly the victim, he views himself as the victim. He does have a few friends. I say a few. He has about two or three that he hangs out with daily. They're like a little gang, if you will. Um, but he will talk to anybody. He will reach out to anybody. He will have a conversation with somebody like their best friends. I know the other student doesn't necessarily care for Jonathan because of the way he acts and treats others. But it's almost as he's oblivious to reality in a sense where he he doesn't necessarily hang out with that person, but all of a sudden, if he's in a good mood and something's funny, he'll go, "Hey, blankety blank, let me show you something on the computer." And the other kid will look, but he doesn't really care. But Jonathan doesn't seem to realize that, so that's I guess pretty good for him. But he likes video games and YouTube. He has a YouTube channel he tells me about just about every day, where he videos himself playing Minecraft or something. Very into YouTube and video games on Xbox as well as Chromebook or laptop. As far as his academic background, he has not gotten along with any of his previous two male teachers at Parkwood. When I took the job, everybody kind of looked at my roster, some of the other teachers. I'm brand new, I have no idea what I'm doing. They look at the roster and they all circled Jonathan's name and they just said, good luck. And I kind of, I was obviously nervous and didn't really know what that meant when somebody says good luck. You want that to be a positive experience, but I wasn't sure quite what to make of Jonathan at the beginning. But we've had a pretty good relationship, I will say. Absences, he's not missed very many days. He's probably missed 3 days all year, and two of them were because he had doctor's appointments with a counselor or a psychologist somewhere. So he is never missing, and so he's there just about every day. As far as discipline, he's been suspended twice this year alone for fighting and talking back to the vice principal. Um, he's a very scrawny, tall but scrawny kid. He's probably 5'10", probably just about as tall as me. Very scrawny, doesn't eat a lot. He he says he doesn't like the school cafeteria food, so mom is supposed to pack his lunch every day. It does not always happen, so a lot of times he doesn't eat, which I think also contributes to some of the issues that we have. I've called mom on that. We've talked about it, and she says she will, but doesn't always follow through. He's very, very smart. He's almost too smart. He's very smart. He struggles in writing. Anytime you put a prompt on the board, a journal, have him respond to something, he kind of struggles with that. But in terms of math and science and reading, he is very, very bright. He's the first one to answer any math problem. He has a very high reading level, always does good getting his AR points and meeting AR goals through the quarter. He finds science interesting, so therefore he cares and does well with it. He struggles in spelling. I think it just bothers him, and he doesn't care to study, and he gets about 50% on just about every test he takes in spelling. He's also on a 504 plan, um, and basically all that's done for him is given him a set of de-escalation strategies to use when he feels like a temper is coming on, he's getting angry, something's about to set him off. He's supposed to go into the uh, corner and sit in a desk for 30 minutes. I have a little clock I put um, on his desk to let him know how long he's going to be there. Or sometimes he gets to tell me how long he wants to be there. He's supposed to take 3 deep breaths and count to 10 backwards. There are very minor things that they've put in place for him that I'll be honest, I rarely see him use them. When I bring them up, it sets him off. You can tell that these have been in place over previous years, and he doesn't like them. So honestly, I've tried my best to not have to use them to try and do just about anything else but these de-escalation strategies, knowing that they set him off. Um, the first time I brought him up to Jonathan, he said, "Actually, really, this is the kind of crap that makes me mad." And that was the mild version of what he said. But I kind of took that as okay. He's seen these before. He does not like them. I've met with the counselor about that, just to kind of run that by him to say, hey, I know this is supposed to help, but it's not. In fact, I would say it's even turned into a trigger with Jonathan, but they don't seem to want to change his plan. As far as some behavioral strengths, when he's in a good mood, there really is not a funnier, more energetic personality in the classroom. He is very, very funny guy, very lighthearted when he's in a good mood. Every day is like this. It's just some days he gets in the line, I pick him up. He looks like he just rolled out of bed, and he looks like he just got yelled at on the way home, on the way to school, and it shows. And then he usually has a bad morning, and it leads to pretty much a bad day for the most part. But some days, and he's the happiest kid in the room, and he is helpful, and he's there to learn. That's a rare day, but that does happen. He works well in subjects he enjoys. Like I said, he loves science. He's very good at math, and he loves to read for short periods of time. As far as writing, he won't do a lick of writing for the most part. He'll type, so sometimes I'll let him type instead of write, just to kind of get some work turned in. But he doesn't like to write. He has very poor handwriting. I think that could be part of it as well. Um, he does strong individual work. He doesn't like working in groups unless it's with his 2 friends. If it's with anybody else, he literally thinks everybody is out to get him and hates him, and he has beef with everybody. Something could have happened in first grade that wasn't even a big deal. So and so accidentally broke my pencil, and he will hold on to that and use that here in sixth grade as well. I don't like so and so because they broke my pencil in the first grade. So we've had a real hard time disconnecting, the past with now. I've tried really to make it known to him that what happened in the past is in the past, and this is a new year. But that doesn't necessarily register with him. And he loves to have a classroom job or objective. I put fruit basket on my slide here. That's the job I've given to him. My school provides fruit for the students every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so, honestly, I forget about it. That's one reason I like him to do it, because it's the last thing on my mind is the fruit basket. Um, and he loves a job. So I retrieve the fruit basket every morning at 8:30. It's like clockwork. Most time I'm in the middle of teaching. I don't even remember about it, and he gets up and just goes, and he loves it. And it's a help to me, and it's a help to him as well. So that's been pretty good. As far as behavioral challenges, this is quite the list. He is easily distracted and has a very short attention span. He's just all over the place in terms of distraction. If anyone's whispering or talking, he just will tune you out and turn his head, and you'll lose him real quick. He blurts out. That's kind of the biggest thing I've heard from all the other teachers is he literally will blurt out at all times. One of the goals that we have for him is to raise his hand when he wants to talk. He likes to just blurt. He likes to just say what's on his mind whenever, and it could be nice, it could be good, it could be bad. Doesn't necessarily matter. He's gonna say it if he wants to. So that's something we've been dealing with. He will confront other students verbally at all times. If a student mouths off to him across the room or says, "Be quiet, Jonathan," or "Shut up," or "How could you," or "Way to go," or anything, he will snap back, and it will not be good. It's usually when a lot of our arguments or fights happen is when he is retaliating into somebody else's conversation. Somebody usually provokes him for the most part, but he cannot not get involved at that point. That's been a real struggle for us. He gets angry quickly. It doesn't take much to get him kind of rolling in that way. He thinks everybody's out to get him. Like I said, I put he's always the victim. He he literally has a grudge with every single person. I, for the most part, him and I have gotten along really well. I think I've related to him in a good way to where we've had a pretty good relationship over the course of the year. I really have enjoyed him as a student. He's been my most challenging student, but at the same time, because of some minor successes with him, it's definitely been my most rewarding student as well. He disrespects authority. That's something that it's gotten him into trouble as his suspension with the vice principal, and out on the playground doesn't respect the yard duties, can't go to the cafeteria or whatever it is because of authority figures in those locations. He can't keep his hands to himself. He's always fidgeting. He's always touching one of his friends and putting his arm around somebody, or tapping him on the head, or I mean, he is touching somebody at all times, and it's something that I've tried to work with him as well with that, but it doesn't seem to get too much better. And if he's not interested or motivated, he's not going to do the assignment. That's kind of the bottom line. It's really unfortunate, but that's kind of where he's at as a student. Some efforts that I've made to help him is he has just started seeing a counselor once a week at the Madera County of Education office. That's been going on for probably 3 or 4 weeks now. I think they're trying to help diagnose him further and kind of figure him out in terms of an actual diagnosis of something that could be wrong. Mom has just recently signed off. We just had an SST meeting about 2 weeks ago. Mom has just finally signed off to let him be seen by a counselor at the school when it's needed. So whether that's to de-escalate his behavior or temper, or whatever that is, she has finally signed off. So that hopefully will get some progress, even though the school is almost over. I try and reward positive behavior and work with him and give him free time on Chromebooks when available. He loves the Chromebooks. Like I said, he loves to play games. He loves to do, even if it's a math game, he didn't even realize he's doing math. It's a game to him. So even to let him something on Prodigy or, cool math games, I mean, he doesn't even realize, I don't think, that it's math in the game. He just loves to play. He loves to do that. So that's been a pretty good way to get him to stay on track or to do an assignment, complete something. Um, I also try and alternate assignments, and what I mean by that is, if I give 20 math problems to everybody, I may only give him 10 or 12 in place of that to try and motivate him to let him feel like he's that much closer or that much ahead of everybody else. That's been something that I think has worked in terms of getting work done. Is just alternating the assignment just slightly, um, to where it's to him it's viewed as reasonable. Oh, I only have to do five. Oh, okay. And that will sometimes get him to push and move on and get it done. He sits right by my desk. Like I said, because he thinks that everybody has a vendetta against him, it's real hard to put him in a group. He is in a group, but I let him pick his group, because honestly, everyone I put by him, he has some story that you know so and so did this to me in the third grade, and I now, I hate that person. Well, okay, you know, that's fine. Tell me the five people you want to sit by. I'll make it happen as long as you are on task and behave. So that's been something that's helped as well. Plus, he sits closest to my desk, so if I have to give him the look or talk to him or straighten him out, he's close by to do that. Plus, I think with me right there, he's on better behavior than he would be if he were in the back of the room. Um, I try and give him a job or a task to help motivate him, give him something to do. I have a bi-weekly phone conference with mom every other Wednesday to talk about his behavior and just how he's doing in school. Is he not doing his homework? How is his spelling? Is it still bad? Is he still reading a lot? We just try and touch base at least every other week, which has been good for us because that's been a good way of communicating and just making sure we're all on the same page, even if it's not getting better. At least we're all on the same page here. And then I honestly just try and relate to him and show him that I care and make him feel as best I can that I'm on his side. Um, he has not really liked any of his teachers previously, and in one of our recent meetings, it actually got brought up to in an SST meeting that they gave him the option to switch schools, and he elected not to because he said he did not want to leave my class because he liked me, which I honestly was given the situation and how he's been with other teachers. It was kind of flattering, a little bit, just to have somebody say they didn't want to leave because of you, especially when I know he is angry against our school. He hates everybody. There's nobody he likes at the school adult wise except for really me, which is it's that's a good feeling to have. It makes you feel like you've done something right. But getting him to be on task and not blurt and complete work and not get angry and not fidget and react to people talking or saying something to him has really been a challenge, and that's been something we've been trying to work through. And I just haven't really found the answer. I haven't been able to find a solution that's really answered all those problems. Some things have gotten better, obviously, over this course of the year, but um, I'm just trying to figure it out, and hopefully, as he goes on to seventh grade, he can we can get some of these things answered out with the counselor and maybe a diagnosis finally to kind of just better serve him as a student as he goes on to junior high and hopefully to high school.